We acknowledge that Tri-Cities Community Television operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below.
Hello, welcome to Tri-Cities Community Television. My name's Hazel Postma, and with me today is Glynis Karpinski, the Vice President of the Dogwood Gardening Club. And I know, Glynis, you're referred to as the Impatient Gardner, but I have to say I've found you so patient and willing to explain all your techniques to me and to our viewers. And I am not the best gardener, so I am learning a huge amount. And today I'm excited because we're going to be talking about repotting plants. Yes. I know there are techniques, I just don't know them. So I'm looking to you today to explain them to us.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. I have a plant here that desperately needs to repot, and I look at my plants and I determine whether they need to be repotted by looking at the bottom, and you can see the roots are showing and coming through. That tells me that is definitely ready to repot, and the shape of the pot is oval now because the roots are pressing. So this is definitely ready to be repotted.
Do you repot it in a great big pot so that it has room to grow for the next year, or
how do I choose the pot? So you want something that's probably about 2 fingers bigger than your last pot. You don't want something that's too big, and you don't want something that's just a little bit big. So I've chosen this pot, and if you put your pot in and I don't know if you can see if I tip it, you can see there's quite a space around the side, and it's about 2 fingers. So I know this is going to be a good size for this plant to go into this pot.
So do you do all your repotting indoors or outdoors?
Both. It depends on what the weather's like. Today I would have repotted this outside, but it started to rain. So I have a plastic container that I can use so that the soil doesn't go everywhere. And my lovely daughter-in-law has given me this for repotting in the house as well. It's a large plastic that snaps together, and so I can put that on a table, and it contains all the soil. So that's really useful as well.
That is a very clever idea. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I was delighted with it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm putting on gloves because I don't like getting my hands dirty. And then I squeeze my pot to kind of loosen it. There we go. So here's the roots. And then I tease out the soil.
Oh my gosh, you're like, the roots are becoming naked.
Yeah, they'll be fine. So, and that just allows more fresh soil with more nutrients to get at the roots. And then I take my pot and I put it back in, and then I take my soil and I put it all around the edge. So you're going to wonder what I'm doing here, but it will make sense in a moment. So as I fill around the pot with the soil, it's a bit dusty.
I can see why one might normally use this.
Exactly. So turning.
And the soil, the new soil is quite dry.
It's very dry. I'm going to moisten it. Yeah. Now, so I take my pot out, and there's a hole the size of my root ball, and then you just firm it in.
Very clever.
Now this should be nice and happy. Goodness, this is really dusty soil. I should have moistened it, but I am going to moisten it now. Just give this a soak. And there's...
Just a spray? You're not watering?
I will water it later. I'll take it and I will take it to the sink and give it a really, really good soak. But this is just basically to get the dust down so we're not coughing and choking. So there is my new pot.
Wow.
with my plant in it.
And will the plant immediately like its new home, or will it droop a bit?
This one won't droop. This one is so strong, but some of them could. But generally, if you've taken the root ball and you've got it in the right size pot and added your water, it should be just fine. It shouldn't have a really big stress as you move it from one pot to the other.
And so should you repot indoor plants in the spring, in the winter? What's the best time to do that?
When they need it. So looking at the roots, no, but it's a good question. So when the roots are coming through the bottom or it's crowding the edges of the pot, and when you try to water it and there's no room for the water to absorb and it just runs off, you want to be looking at repotting.
Okay, so it's not necessary to wait for a specific time of year or anything
No.
for the indoor plants?
For indoor plants.
What about outdoors when you're repotting, say, some of the plants in your containers and things?
You want to wait until the temperature is warm enough. So this is Impatient Gardner here. So when I go to the nurseries at this time of year and you start to see the plants coming in and I think, oh, I've got to have that color right now. I want that. And you have to be patient. You have to wait till the temperature is warm enough for those plants to be happy outside. Otherwise, they go into sort of almost like a shock where they don't bloom anymore, they don't grow, they just almost are frozen. And it takes a long time for them to get going again. Whereas if you just wait a couple of weeks until it's warmer, your plants will do much better.
Right.
So,
and I have one last question. Because our indoor plants are mostly tropical, which we discussed in an earlier segment, I do hear sometimes people say you can put them outside in the summer to give them sort of a blast of tropical air and light. Is that right?
yes, I take most of my plants outside in the winter. I mean, in the summer, rather. And some I'll hang in the trees, some will go into the garden in their pots, and they just become part of my perennial bed. But I try to move as many of my tropicals outside in the summer as I possibly can. You just have to check them very carefully when you bring them in the fall for any bugs or anything like that you don't want to bring back in the house. But they love being outside in the summer, and you'll find that they'll just grow much faster and they'll become more lush. So you get a nicer looking plant at the end of the summer. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your tips on repotting and actually demonstrating. I never would have had the courage to get all the earth off the roots. That seems like a very drastic move, but it obviously works. So
He'll be fine.
yeah.
Good.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Yeah. So thank you again for tuning in to Tri-Cities Community Television. This was my conversation with Glynis Karpinski, the Vice President of the Dogwood Gardening Club. And I hope you'll come back and watch some more segments. Thank you.